Hey, welcome in, guys. You ready to learn how to play the blues? Great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the most basic pattern of all, the 12-bar blues. We're going to employ our A5 chord, our D5 chord, and our E5 chord. Those are our three chord forms that we're going to use. So let's get started learning the A chord first. All right? We're going to put our first finger on the 4th string 2nd fret, and that should sound like that. That's an E note. We're also going to play our 5th string open, which is an A note. So we're going to play them together like this. And that's all we want to hear. That creates an A5 chord. Okay, I'm going to turn this way so you can see that I'm only going to play just those two strings, 5th string and 4th string, while I'm holding down my 4th string 2nd fret. Okay, so take your time, get it right. Okay, so that's A5. Now, to move to D5 is a very simple thing. We're going to move down one string. So our first finger goes down to 3rd string 2nd fret, and we're going to play the 4th and the 3rd string. Okay, so we're just going to play those two strings, and it's going to create our D5 chord. So now I'm playing just the 4th and the 3rd strings. Like that. Okay, next we're going to create our E5 chord, so we'll move our first finger up to the 5th string 2nd fret. And we'll now play the 6th string and the 5th string, and it'll sound like that. Okay, so let's review. By the way, of course, this is a video, so you could stop it at any point and get these chords sounding the way they need to sound. Okay, so you've done that now, hopefully, and we're ready to switch between them a little bit. Let's form our A5 chord, and we're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you'll notice I'm using all down strokes over here. Okay, I'm just playing all with downs like that. Down, 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 down. Now what we're going to attempt to do is we're going to attempt to play a 12-bar blues, which is the most common chord progression in all the blues music. It's pretty much the only one I know of, quite honestly. And we're going to use our three chords A5, D5, and E5. Okay, we're going to string them into a chord progression. We're going to play each one of these chords for a certain amount of measures. A measure is going to be 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. That's a musical measure in 4/4 time. So we're going to play one measure of A, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we're going to switch to D and play one measure of D, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then back to A for 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we're going to go to D for 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then back to A for 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we're going to go to the E chord for 1 measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then to the D chord. Now that's going to be a little fussy because it's kind of a jump to the D chord for 1 measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and back to A for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then E for 1, and we're done. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's 12 measures right there. Okay, it's 1 measure of A, 1 measure of D, 2 more measures of A, 2 more measures of D, 2 more measures of A, then 1 measure of E, 1 measure of D, another measure of A, and then 1 measure of E. Now, I'm going to break out my good friend Mr. Drum Machine here, and he's going to give me a solid little bluesy shuffle beat at 60 beats a minute. All right, and this is what we're going to practice it to. So here we go. I'm going to count you in, and off we go. So 1 and 2 and and here we go. It's 1 and 2, then up to D, now back to A, stay on A, 1 and 2 and 3, go to D, and 3, and stay on D, 1 and 2 and 3, and back to A, and A, down to E, and E, and up to D, then A, and E. So that was one cycle through the 12-bar blues, just using our A5, D5, and E5 chords, okay? And although these are just fairly simple chords to form, make no mistake about it, you're playing a 12-bar blues in A. So I'll do it again with the drum machine. This time, I'm going to play it through a few times and see if you can't kind of keep up with, all right? I think that 60 beats a minute is a relatively modest tempo for the blues. Here we go, I'll count you in. So it's 1 and 2, and here we go. It's A, then to D, and back to A. Stay on A, and up to D, stay on D, then A, go into E, then up to D, then A, then E, and we'll start again. From the top, it's A, then D, then A, stay on A, D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then to A. Down to E, then up to D, then A, then E, and from the top, now let's go. Last time through. And then we stop. All right, now that's 3 times through the 12-bar blues progression. Now, I've got the PDF on the page under on my website, rogerkeplinger.com. Click on the blues module, and it'll be the first section, rhythm guitar, and the PDF will be there, so you could look at the information as well as listen to me talk to you about it. So sometimes just a combination of those two things is what we need to get it right at the end of the day. Couple things before we go on to the next lesson. This is the most basic thing you can do on guitar, okay? I mean, with regard to the blues. I mean, how simple, right? Your 3 primary chords that you need to make this thing happen are basically the same form occurring on open strings down here at the open part of the neck. So you can play the whole thing with just your first finger, okay? That's not always going to be the case, but it is for this one, right? And it gets you started. It gets you started in the right direction. You're thinking about playing a chord and a progression. The progression is called the 12-bar blues. I'm going to be adding all kinds of bells and whistles to this thing, but I need you to try to get this together pretty solidly first before we move on to the next thing. Last thing I'll say before I go is a lot of strings might be ringing while you're playing this thing. You might be striking errant strings on either side of the frets, the strings you're trying to play. Just, you know, just try to have patience with yourself and let available fingers here and part of your fretting hand touch strings that you don't want to hear making any sound. We'll talk more about that another day. In the meantime, just have fun and try to get this simple 12-bar blues together that's involving the use of just the A5, D5, and E5 power chord. I'll see you at the next lesson.